Scotland kick off their 2023 World Cup warm-ups with a win over Italy, 25 points to 13. It was a shaky performance, but the job was done. And I think that ultimately, I can sit here and moan about the poor performance, but ultimately we won. It's by no means the first team, but there is a few issues that I do want to kind of address and say that need fixed, especially with, the confidence stuff through that, and also South Africa being appalling against Argentina. I know they won, but they weren't very good, apparently. I haven't watched the game, I've just kind of read a couple of reports. But yeah, so Scotland, defence was good. Again, same as usual. Past few years, our defence has been really good. Handling was a bit shaky, I will admit. Lots of drop balls, lots of scrums. I mean, I know it was piddling it down. I was at Murrayfield. I do have a couple of videos of teams coming out, anthems, etc., that I might post. Only a couple of minutes short, and you'll hear me singing. I'm a terrible singer, I know. So yeah. Also, the handling was terrible. Lots of drop balls, not just from Scotland. Italy didn't have the best hands either, although I felt that Scotland had worse. It felt to me like quite often we couldn't string more than 3 or 4 passes together without the ball being on the floor, which really isn't where you want to be. Now, again, I'm not assessing this as where we are due to, it's not the first team. We'll have a better understanding next week when the first team, I presume it'll be the first team, play France. I presume that's when you'll have the likes of Finn, Duran van der Merwe, Pierre Schumann, all that lot back in. Instead of it being a lot of fringe players, a couple of first caps, etc. What else? Ali Price's kicking was absolutely terrible. His box kicking, the amount of times he kicked it out dead must have been a good 2 or 3 times straight, and then just kind of stopped kicking. Kicking wise though, Ben Healy was pretty decent. I think he only made 1 or 2 errors. Ollie Smith as well was not the best. I really wanted him to have a good game, but sitting here, I'm sitting there going, I don't think he was terrible, but he wasn't where we need him to be. Now, again, I know the conditions and that weren't great, and we'll get a better understanding. This is why we need to play him in all 4 games and not do like 2 with him, 2 with Kinghorn, because I think we should stick with 1 and play them in these 4 games. I think it should still be Ollie Smith. Let him settle more. I think that's part of the issue, is he's still trying to settle into that 15. It was only his 2nd or 3rd cap. And yeah, discipline was absolutely horrendous again. It has been poor the last few years. It improved. I was getting hopeful. It was pretty decent in the Six Nations, but there again, it was dire. Too many stupid penalties, especially on the ground. A lot of offsides. First half scrummaging, all that, pretty abysmal. Now for the scrums though, I do kind of want to shout out Batty, McInally and Sebastian, as when they came on as replacements, kind of 50 odd 60th minute, somewhere in there, the scrum actually did get a lot better, and we actually won several on the head, won the penalty on the Italian put in, so we did step up dominantly, but Italy are also known to fall off a little bit in the last 20 or so. So I don't know how much was our new front row being more dominant, or just Italy dropping off a little bit. I don't know. Again, that'll be another one to see. Hopefully, and we get to see that more over the next few games. Although I've not been 100% sure on Sebastian. I've thought he's okay. I don't quite think he's in. But that game, I think it was actually pretty decent. I would maybe give him the bench option next week. Have Schumann starting again at 1, have him as the bench on 1, and then have Xander and WP at 3, and I think that could be a decent kind of prop options for next week anyway. And then if it does well next week, we can start talking about maybe doing that in France in October. What else have we got? Ben Healy, what a performance! Great kicking. His goal kicking, yes, I know he missed 1 or 2, but it looked comfortable the whole time. It didn't look like it was his second cap. It did look comfortable. I think he had a grip on the game. I said he looked calm, he was composed. He felt like he belonged in the team. Now again, I don't think he'll get another Finn Russell for the main team, but you maybe start to think, Finn Russell's there to next World Cup cycle, give him game time, he might be our next answer to the 10 situation. We'll just have to wait and see. Darcy. What a couple of tries for him. Again, received the crossfield, another great kick from Ben Healy. Dotted it down, and that second one where we just dive straight through the middle of everyone, just typical Darcy fashion, and puts his try tally up to 18 in 34 games, I believe. So not bad strike rate, about 1 in every 2 games. And I think he is well on his way. He only needs about another 10 or so to beat Hogg's record. I think he will get there in the next couple of years as long as he stays injury free. And I still think he's one of the best wingers in the world, and I would happily argue that with anyone. Apart from that Bayliss try was good. That was better team try. Right at the end, we actually managed to string some passes together, getting some plays going, and we did blooming well. Although that Goosey was absolutely unreal. Watching that, you just kind of went, it was great. Great footwork from him to finish it off, but it was a great build-up, great team try. I think at points we were slightly selfish again. I thought what was good in the Six Nations was they were playing the pass. Scotland of recent until the Six Nations did fall guilty multiple times a game, usually, of getting to the second or third man on the edge, and they just took it in. Whereas if you played that extra pass or two, you may well be in. Maybe not quite in and score, but you'd get further. And I think that in the Six Nations we did it better, and we got more field gain up the wings and scored several times doing that. But I think there, again, we didn't play the pass as much. We didn't get it quite out. It more got to the man either inside the wing or the one-off, and they just took it in. Whereas if they just fixed the man and given it in, you're probably making at least another 10, 20 metres. So, little things like that could be improved. It is the first team. It's not the first team, sorry. See if the first team improve that. Now, I haven't spoken much about Italy. And to be fair, they did well. That Ione try was well taken. Again, defended pretty well. The rucking was decent, Italy. Apart from that, neither team were that great in attack, to be honest. It was a slugfest. But yeah, overall, decent game. Standout performers, Darcy Graham, Ben Healy. I think Sebastian did well, although I know not everyone would say that. Yeah, that's kind of it. Although obviously the true man, not man, you can't say that anymore, can you? It wasn't a man. The true performer in the game was the Seagull. What a performance. Just holding the line, making sure Italy didn't kick it long. And then, unfortunately it was taken off due to perceived injury, taken up in a couple of hits at just after Darcy's try. and I think he failed its HIA and didn't come back. So yeah, so hopefully the pigeon seagull is okay, and hopefully it's a Scottish grandmother and we can play it more. Take it to the World Cup. Surprise the South Africans with it. Got to do what you need to do to win, eh? And yeah, I think the memo for that game was sloppy game, good win. Similar to the one in the Six Nations, it was actually a very similar game. Sloppy game, decent win, move on. Next game, France next week. I'm blooming excited. Hope you are. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.